Hey, wonderful, beautiful, magnificent people out there in the fragrance world, of the fragrance community, out there in the wonderful smelling lands of scent. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Let's talk about Encrypt from the house of Zoha. If you haven't heard about Zoha, I'll put their website in the description below. I'm not affiliated. I do not get any sort of kickback, but I do want to check them out. If you like colognes, if you like fragrance alternatives, if you want to smell really nice for less money, they're a good brand to check out for sure. They're out of Canada. For some of y'all, Canadian fragrance reviewers or Canadian gents and gals, there's some good fragrances out there from them. And this one's called Encrypt. Definitely going to review it. Let's talk about it today. So first off, they do provide the notes on their stickers, so I'm going to read them to you really fast. I think it's super convenient. We got notes of vanilla, apple, cardamom, lavender, pepper, and sandalwood. Now, to my nose, this is supposed to be a clone, and it does smell similar to Layton by, Parfums de Marley. But to my nose, this fragrance almost smells like Parfums de Marley's Layton if it was made by Hugo Boss. To me, this has a Hugo Boss-like quality and a Hugo Boss-like smell. It must be because of the spices and the apples, and it does have this kind of slightly darker vibe. The sandalwood is that very modern sandalwood. It's not overtly creamy or overtly smooth. It's not Mysore. It's not that kind of quality, but it does smell nice. What I think about this fragrance is that it's a lighter, more wearable, more versatile version of Parfums de Marley Layton. Layton's perfectly versatile. You can wear anything, anytime you want, but I do feel like it's a little bit on the gourmand side or a semi-gourmand, and it doesn't work particularly well in any kind of heat. So once you get that fragrance above 80 degrees or so, I think Layton, because of the sweetness and the characters of it, it can become a little bit chaotic. This is why a fragrance like this is really nice, and it can save you money if you want something cheaper that you can wear all year round and 24/7 and not have to worry about the price tag. To my nose, this has a little bit of that classy edge, or that classy smell, that vibe to it that Layton doesn't have, but Layton has a lot more sweetness. Layton is a lot more seductive than this fragrance for sure. Layton is longer lasting than this fragrance, no doubt. So there's some pros and some cons to both of them. I feel like this one has a little bit more, it kind of relies a little bit more on the apple than, the vanilla that Layton kind of has. I think that Layton has a good amount of vanilla in it, and this one maybe has a tiny bit more lavender going on. Overall, it's lighter, again, fresher, but somebody out there might really like this interpretation or this, I guess, variation of Layton. Now, what kind of performance are we talking about? We're getting 6 hours, maybe 7. It's not a super strong performer, but it's good for everyday situations. It's good for going out and about, for the casual life, or just out and about when you don't want to be too serious. To me, Layton is a very seductive fragrance. It's a very nice spring and fall fragrance for me, and it certainly does work. This fragrance isn't trying to be overtly charming. It's not gonna grab a lot of attention. And for some people out there, if you're just in an everyday situation, if you want to go to the supermarket, this is a fragrance that you might be more comfortable with wearing. Sometimes I feel like that. I don't want to wear an overtly seductive fragrance just for a casual situation. Even if it's not terribly expensive, I don't really want to grab that attention from just casual people out and about. Maybe some of you guys are Casanovas. Maybe that's something what you like to do. I mean, do your thing, do what you want to do. But this is a decent fragrance. I am not going to stand here and try to pretend that this is the same quality as a Parfums de Marley, but I'm just going to come here and say that the price is, a lot more affordable. But before the price, let's talk about the compliment factor again real quick. It's going to be good for casual situations. It's going to be good for out and about. It's a little bit sweet. It's a little bit dark, almost plum-like, but it doesn't have plum in it. But it can remind you of that dark plum vibe, just a tiny bit. It's nice. It is a little bit on the sweet side. It's just like a dark, sweet cinnamon apple with some woody notes going on in it. To me, the pepper isn't overtly spicy. It doesn't really grab your attention. It's more mellow. To me, it's definitely more on the cardamom side of things. It's not the bright, crisp, sharp peppers like Szechuan and the like. This is more of a mellow cardamom, and cardamom always plays very well with lavender. So it's a nice combination overall. The fragrance works. It's fairly well blended. and it'll do well for compliments. On my skin and for my personality, it wasn't a scent that I exactly jived with, but it did get decent compliments and decent attention. It's just not the biggest compliment getter out there in the world, for me, at least in my life. It's not the biggest compliment fragrance, but it does get noticed in a good way, in a positive way. It's just a little bit more reserved and a little bit more laid back than something you would expect from a Layton-like fragrance. So overall, a very nice creation, smells very nice. Price-wise, you can get these for around the $60 mark. I think they're about 50 mils. I think you're getting a good quality and a good smell for the price. You know, it might not seem like a great value, but you know, it is a pretty good value for what you're getting out of Zoha fragrances. This actually is not one of my favorites from the brand. I actually really like their oils. Some of their interpretations of their oils are spot on. I mean, wonderful. And I kind of like their oils more than I do some of their fragrances. That's just my experience, though. I really want to try their Ancient Citrus or Ancient Amber kind of fragrance, and they have some others out there that I really do need to get my nose on. But it's still a good creation. If I was to rate this score-wise, I'd always don't do a score, but just to give y'all kind of an idea of what I'm talking about, I would probably give this a 7.5 out of 10. This was sent to me. I'm always honest with y'all. I'm always transparent. And this also doesn't wow me in a big way, but it's a good, dependable fragrance for everyday situations. Don't doubt that. This is definitely good for everyday wear. For a guy out there, if you love the Hugo Boss Absolutes of the world and the Parfum de Marley Laytons, this is something that might just be right up your alley, something you might want to look into. But I don't want to be an influencer. That's not what I'm here for. So definitely in the comment section below, let me know what you think about this fragrance. For me personally, it's not something that I love, and I'm going to actually hand this off to somebody else. But I want to know your thoughts. Do you like this brand? Have you heard about Zoha? Have you given Zoha a chance? What do you think about them in the comment section below? I think they're a nice brand. I think brands like Alexandria Fragrances are wonderful and they're great. But, you know, some brands like Zoha just don't get as much talk as Alexandria. What do you think about both of those brands? How do you think they're doing? What do you think about this fragrance? Let me know in the comment section below. And before you go, why don't you give me that like, that comment, that subscribe, that hit that notification bell, and even tell a friend. And when you hit the notification bell, hit all notifications. So anyways, my friends, I'll see you next time. Wear what you love, rock what you got. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one, everybody, and bye.